The movie Walking Tall showed us state line clubs that had back rooms full of gambling equipment. What is the real story? What kind of gambling took place, and how do we know? Stay tuned and you'll find out. Hi, I'm Mike Elam, and this is Buford PUSSER, the other story. A number of people who have followed me through the years on my Facebook page, Buford PUSSER, The Other Story, and now on my YouTube channel by the same name, ask me what I do whenever I research and investigate these stories. Well, you go by a lot of things. You're looking at different types of written files, photographs, personal interviews that you conduct, so on. But today we're going to talk about FBI files. And last week we touched on this when we were talking about gambling at the state line. Today we're going to look at individual files and show the consistency that shows exactly what was going on, how they were getting away with it, and who was involved. So here we go. A number of people have expressed their curiosity about what I'm looking for when I research documents. Let's use a page from Toehead White's FBI file, break it down so that you'll understand what I'm looking for. One of the first things I look at is the date on a report. As you can see here, Buford was sheriff at this time. This was 2 months after he took office after running for the office of sheriff on the promise that he would clean up McNairy County's state line. I also look for other pieces of important information. For instance, here, the White Iris is that place. It is a gambling location. This section of the report gives some information that leads up to the victim being enticed to gamble. This area of the report gives a narrative of the incident or how the game was played. Of course, the operator was moving quickly. They did not want the victim to understand what was happening, as they didn't even explain the rules to them. When the victim began to doubt their chances of winning at the game, the operator would tell them that they couldn't lose unless they quit. This kept the victim in the game and laying down their cash. After a while, the victim realized that there was no way he could win at this game. By that time, he had already lost money. As you can see on this line, the victim lost $8. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot of money today, but you have to keep in mind that in the mid-60s, that would be the equivalent to losing about $80. As you can see, the game is based on keeping the victim confused, playing fast, controlling the dice, and miscounting their score. If you enjoy Buford PUSSER, The Other Story, please help us keep new installments coming by clicking like, comment, share, and be sure and subscribe to the channel so we get notifications of new episodes. This file shows us that 4 months into his first term as sheriff, Buford was going through the motions of reporting problems to the TBI when he deemed it necessary to do so. But he was sheriff of McNairy County. Why was he not investigating and making arrests when possible, rather than just reporting to another agency? Let's look at the report further. As you can see, Buford was indeed sheriff. And as in the last example, the report also gives the date of the incident. As you see here, the victim of the gambling scam is from Michigan, yet another person from out of state. As in earlier examples, the complaint is about gambling, specifically the Razzle game. Once again, the location of the incident is the state line's White Iris. The victim reports that he lost $50 to $60. That may not sound like much today, but in 1960s economy, that would be about $600. This report, like the others, gives us the date of the action. Many think that people should be sharp enough to know when they're being cheated. But for example, here's a well-educated man, a doctor from Wisconsin, who fell for the game. District Attorney Abernathy told the FBI that after receiving a copy of the victim's letter from the State Attorney General, he either misplaced it, destroyed it. Either way, there's no indication that Abernathy followed through on the matter or referred it to Sheriff PUSSER. Unlike what we saw in the movie Walking Tall, where clubs and beer joints had gambling halls and backrooms of their establishments, about the only thing that occurred at the state line that we can tell is the Razzle game, and Toehead's file is full of such reports. Here is a report that has two separate incidents of gambling. Again, we see the date of the incident. This is followed by information that the victim is again from out of state, this time Missouri. As you can see, the gambling once again took place at Toehead White's White Iris. The victim reported losing money in a game of dice. The victim told investigators that he lost about $78. Again, in today's economy, that would be about $800. Here's another report with information that we've seen time and time again. The victim is from out of state. This happened about 3.5 months into Buford's first term as sheriff. It all took place at the White Iris. It involved a dice game. This time the operator called it the jackpot. But that's just another name for the Razzle game. In an all too familiar script, the victim said that he was encouraged to keep playing the game. He was told the only way that he could lose is if he stopped playing. He played until he lost $55. Multiply that by 10 and you get what the amount would be in today's money. About $550 is what he would have lost. The victim reported the gambling incident to the sheriff in Silmer. He told the sheriff he was from Michigan and that he would return and testify if given an opportunity. However, no arrests were ever made. You have to wonder why. So what is the big reveal at the end of this story? Well, the big reveal is that Toehead White had a fix in play. And who was the fix with? So as you see, I go by what's in the files, looking for the same thing that repeats itself. Dates, names, places, events. And as you can see, the White Iris was kind of a mecca of gambling there at the state line, and it all involved the Razzle game. We were all deceived by the movie Walking Tall when they showed the casinos in the back rooms and everything that was going on with the roulette tables and slot machines and all this. That never happened. That's not what the state line was like. That's not what it was all about. Now, I'm not trying to downplay the what happened at the state line, because it could be a tough place. There's no doubt about that, but it just didn't happen the way that we were shown in the movie. Also, Buford Pusser was not the man that we saw in the movie. There, he was a stand-up guy. He was heroic. In real life, it was a different story. But, we'll get more and more into that as we go through the series. But I hope you understand now, for instance, what I look at as far as documents. And again, it doesn't matter what kind of documents you're dealing with, whether they're county records or state records or correspondence from the TBI, FBI files, autopsy reports. They're all the same. They contain information, and you dig through that. It's kind of a mundane thing to do, but still, yeah, you find a lot of interesting information, and it all involves connecting dots. That's the way that I've put together the story as I have, is no one really seems to know the full true story. But you put enough dots together, you get an idea of what it was. At any rate, we're going to wrap it up for now, and we'll see you next week.